Welcome back to the C-Files. If you haven't watched my most recent update video, this is the same exact show as The Curious Case of, it just has a different name now. And after all this time, all of this waiting, all of me telling you that it's going to come out and then not having it come out, I can now confidently say that we are going to finish Stupid Mario Brothers. This is part 3 of the C-Files on Stupid Mario Brothers. So, if you watched part 2, I mentioned that after the movie comes Operation Blindstorm, which is a short video between the movie and seasons 4 and 5. But what I didn't mention is that there is another video that comes after Operation Blindstorm called The Quest for Rent. It is an interactive adventure, which is one of the things that Rich and Company likes to do before making Stupid Mario Brothers. It's a series of videos where at the end you're given two choices, like a choose-your-own-adventure book. One will progress the story, while the other will be a short thing saying, oh, you failed, you know, try this. But since those videos are kind of lengthy, I'm only going to talk about them in brief. So let's start the lightning round. Operation Blindstorm starts with Mario and Wario Brothers playing fucking New Super Mario Brothers. And they make a comment about Wario and Luigi not being in the game, and then the Wario Brothers leave, to which Luigi asks what they're gonna do. Well, they decide to eat lunch. But before that happens, we actually go to Ness and Snake, who are doing their version of Operation Blindstorm, which is looking for adventure. And they happen to find it. It's in the form of the Darkness's hat. Ness puts it on and pretends that the hat made him evil, and then just says it's, you know, it's just normal hat. So they use the hat as a clue to look for more adventure to go on. We then cut to Wario, who senses that someone is looking for him. And then it's Merlin, everybody's favorite Deus Ex Machina. He shows up and he has this to say.
Wario, listen closely, because this is the last time that you'll ever see me.
This is a massive fucking lie. We then go back to the Mario Brothers after eating lunch, and it's probably one of the weirdest fucking scenes I've seen in this show. There's a lot of stuff to unpack in this scene, and it's mostly just the stuff that's visually there. Like the fact that there's any of the food that's left on the plates. Did the actors actually eat that food, or did they just make the food and then put it on the plates? Why is there a whole meatball on Luigi's plate? Why is there ketchup and 2 cans of Parmesan cheese? Why did all the Hunt's labels face the camera? Is this product placement or something? There's 2 extra empty plates, and then on top of that, why do Mario and Luigi feel like they have to sit next to each other when there's like 3 other spots they could sit at? Why does the scene feel so weird to look at? Then Daisy shows up for the last time in the series, mind you, and scolds Luigi for not cleaning up seconds after he ate lunch. And also, why is Daisy wearing a dress? Isn't there some form of casual wear that they could have had her dressed in? I mean, you just have to wear orange, and if you can't decide on what to put her in, then there's a multitude of other options that Daisy's worn in different Mario games, which is just confusing, to be honest. But then after that, evil Dane Cook breaks into the house and tells the Marios that their music's good. And then they do a flashback for some reason, and then Mario agrees to make another song because Dane's gonna give them a bunch of coins. We then come back to Wario, where Merlin tells him something that we have no idea about, which is cheap as shit because dramatic irony is a very good storytelling device. It's a chance to have the audience be more engaged in the process. Anyways, Merlin says goodbye and leaves. I don't know why, he just does. You know, we'll never see him again. Then we go to the Mario Brothers in the worst fucking green screen setup I've ever seen. Like, come on, Dane's supposed to be rich enough to give the Mario Brothers 10 million coins, but he doesn't have any form of professional green screen? I'm taking too long to analyze this. We're gonna speed up now. So, the Mario Brothers decide to sing a song. It's a parody of Fireflies, which is a very dated song. And then Dane says that he wants them to do death metal. Death metal! After that, we go back to Snake and Ness. Ness tells Snake how the darkness has a power source that they need to destroy. Ooh, spooky. We then go back to Mario and Luigi, who make fun of their own laziness as content creators, mentioning the possibility of a music video to the death metal segment. Which is dumb, because why talk about it if it's a possibility? If you make it, you make it. There's no need to say that it might happen to get the hopes of other people up. Wario then shows up riding Yoshi, and Mario starts treating Yoshi like property.
You think you're doing riding my Yoshi?
What's wrong with that?
You didn't even ask for my permission! Yoshi, you know better than this! What do you have to say for yourself, Wario?
You do this again, and it's a proper stoning for you. Wario is here to tell the Marios about the energy source, but who told him? Ness? Isn't he with Snake? Well, spoiler alert, it's Merlin. So Snake and Ness arrive at the power source, and they debate about whether or not to destroy it until Wario and the Mario Brothers show up. Wario says that they can't destroy it, but nobody listens to Wario, and the power source ends up getting destroyed. What it actually turns out to be is a beacon that allows all of these characters who have powers to use their powers in real life. This is also a massive fucking lie. Now, the reason that I think this happened is either they don't have a plot for Season 4, or they want to try more stuff like Season 1 of the show. But there's always a way to mix the two. For some reason, they don't do it. The show ends with the Mario Brothers being threatened to get evicted, and apparently gold coins are not accepted as currency. But gold is extremely expensive. The landlord's an idiot. Now we move on to the quest for rent. Since this is an interactive adventure, the way that it's edited in the non-interactive version, which is the one that I'm watching, is a little weird and mixed up than as it is in the original version. If you want to experience it for yourself, it is much better to experience it as the interactive version. So if you're going to go watch it, I suggest you watch that version specifically. It all starts out with the Mario Brothers not being able to pay rent, so, well, then the power goes out. We then go to Snake and Wario, who ultimately decide that they should probably help the Mario Brothers. But for some reason in this scene, Wario has his motivation from Season 1. It's a one-time thing, and I don't understand why they had it when they could have obviously just had Snake and Wario say, oh, well, I guess we'll go help the Mario Brothers because, you know, they're our friends now. So they all get inside, and they all decide that they are going to find their own way to make money, to pay for rent. This is where the interactive adventure becomes more interactive, as you follow each character through their own story as a little interactive tidbit. And once you finish it all, you then watch the final section. What I think they should have done, if they really wanted to do this as a non-interactive adventure, which, you know, the only reason that I'm watching the non-interactive one is because I don't have to click all the links, and it makes it easier to review. But if they were to do it as a non-interactive adventure, why not just have them do something more feasible, like a car wash, or maybe like a bake sale or something? Anyways, each character has their own story. Luigi's is where he basically reenacts the entire Luigi's Mansion game in a house. Snake's story is where he tries to kill a guy named Pizza, thinking that the pizza delivery wanted sign is actually a man named Pizza that is wanted to be killed. I don't know. Wario finds a treasure map and ends up getting gold. Mario's is where he actually tries to do plumbing for once in a lifetime, and, well, it ends like this. So there's actually one scene in this interactive adventure that actually got a laugh out of me. I'll play it for you now.
You're a plumber, aren't you? Shouldn't you be used to this?
The only pipes I clean are green, and they take me places.
You're a strange man.
So that's the actually funny part of the interactive adventure. This entire thing is not needed. Long story short, they get rent and Season 4 starts. Now that the interactive adventure and Operation Blindstorm are over, we can actually go back to normal speed and review Seasons 4 and 5. Normally. Let's begin. The first episode of Season 4 starts with Wario taunting Mario about fighting him, but then it changes back to a comedy, but then they fight again. Also, Mario and Wario both use fireballs, which, if I remember correctly, didn't they lose their powers? After, well, this.
That's right, Mario. Smell my dominance.
We find out it's actually a dream. Mario and Co. don't have their powers, so Mario, being Mario, he goes out and gets food. While on his way to go get food, he runs into Pauline and DK. which then it turns out they're actually dating. Is this legal? I don't know. During their conversation, Mario says this.
Don't you remember? He kidnapped you and I rescued you. Or has the year 1981 completely been erased from your memory?
If Mario remembers 1981, then that means that the games are things that happen in real life. But this series is supposed to be about teenage Mario Brothers. Why doesn't the world have a solid rule set that could at least be explained and followed by the creators? Like, what did the Mario Brothers think when they found out that their adventures are being turned into video games? Are they like a movie to them? Or does anyone know that the video games are real? Or do they think that the Mario Brothers are just cosplayers? This is a question I shouldn't be asking. This show should already have given me an answer, but it doesn't. And that's a huge theme that you kind of see within seasons 4 and 5, is that it just kind of keeps crumbling and nothing makes sense. But anyways, back to the show. So Luigi and Wario ditch Mario for bowling, but Mario has to go see Snake for some reason. Well, what does Snake want? Apparently, Liquid Snake is back. Snake saw him at a Starbucks getting coffee for some reason. Snake tells Mario that they need their powers back, but before he can finish, he is forced to use the bathroom because toilet humor is now a huge staple of seasons 4 and 5 in Stupid Mario Brothers. Mainly, the fart humor goes to Wario.
That's right, Mario. Smell my dominance.
Probably because the only thing that Wario does related to farting is his down B in Smash. Why? Mario decides to become a huge asshole and steals Snake's present to give to Pauline, because the thought of Pauline dating another monkey is making Mario extremely angry. We then go to Wario and Waluigi bowling, but for some reason they're bowling on the Wii. Why not go to an actual bowling alley? It's not that hard to ask the owner if you can use it for your YouTube series. Hell, somebody in my D2 class had used a bar for their D2 scene, and they're not even 21. Also, if you haven't noticed, they're bowling in the same room where the scene where they told Mario they were going to be bowling was at.
Hang out today. Sorry, Mario. I promised Wario we'd go bowling. And I wasn't invited?
So what did they do? Did they just leave the house, wait for Mario to leave and come back? I don't know. Wario says ass and Luigi gets mad. And that's it. Mario goes back to Pauline and we get the most enthusiastic fucking line ever.
Hey, Pauline!
Oh, hey, Mario, what's up?
Mario gives her the chocolates, but then we find out that the chocolates are to prevent Solid Snake from becoming old, like a Metal Gear Solid 4, which I think actually came out around the time that this series was happening, so I think the whole idea is to have Snake become old, and then therefore they have Old Snake in their show, so it's topical. Well, you want to know what happens when Pauline eats the chocolates? She fucking dies. And that's episode 1 of season 4. Let's move on to episode 2. Episode 2 starts with Waluigi showing up and explaining that he's been in Australia since the movie. Then Brock shows up, but Ash isn't there. Why's that? Well, Dane decided to quit working on Stupid Mario Brothers after him and Richard had a falling out. Dane's side of the story has been told in a documentary by the user Monkey Jones. If you want to find out what happened between Rich and Dane from Dane's perspective of the situation, you can always go and watch the Monkey Jones documentary. But since I am focusing on the story and the camera tricks and all the film-related stuff that happens behind the scenes, I'm not going to talk about that too much in depth. Nothing special in this episode happens aside from some fart jokes and a reconfirmation that they in fact do not have powers. And also Snake's going to Hyper Rage and die. Snake tells Mario he needs $10,000 not to die. So, what does Mario do? He joins the fucking Mafia. The next episode starts with everybody missing things because Mario and Luigi stole them all to sell to the Mafia. They were then told to go repossess a car. Why is this becoming more like GTA? Well, it's probably because the guy that runs the mob is the protagonist of GTA Vice City, Tommy Vercetti. We then go to Wario and Waluigi, who are trying to keep themselves from becoming bored. They decide to sing, and it lets us in on a little fun fact about the two of them. Both Doug and Matt, respectively Waluigi and Wario, did local theater in the area. We then go to Mario and Luigi, who are in too deep. Tommy Vercetti now tasks the Marios with killing Solid Snake, which, shouldn't be a problem since Mario murdered multiple people in the interactive adventure. But they're both little bitches, so they go and ask the help of Max Payne? Yeah, you heard me right, Max Payne. The funny thing about these characters, Tommy Vercetti and Max Payne, is that they're both Rockstar characters, which, if I'm not mistaken, those games didn't appear on an actual Nintendo console. I might be wrong. Hey, editing Cole, is GTA Vice City on GameCube? Alright, well there's your answer. It just doesn't make sense to me for some reason. Max Payne apparently narrates everything he's doing, probably making fun of the way that Max Payne narrates the story from the first game. They say that Tommy Vercetti is Max Payne's arch nemesis, and that Max was looking for him, but according to Luigi, he's 15 minutes away, which makes no goddamn sense.
We know the whereabouts of Tommy Vercetti's mob.
At last, Vercetti, the man I most anxiously wanted to take down, his whereabouts finally within my grasp.
He'll have at least 5 guards at his place. Can you handle that?
They question my skill, to which I laugh and say it'll be easy. Ha ha ha! It'll be easy.
This guy's weird.
No kidding.
It's just 15 minutes down the road, Mr. Payne. Are you ready to go?
I want to tell him I was born ready, but that would be too cliche. So I simply answer, yeah, I'm ready.
You think that Max would have already found him by now? I don't know. Let's just move on to the next episode. The next episode opens on Wario writing a letter to Mona from the WarioWare series. Apparently all characters need a love interest of some sort. I'm not sure what this will add to the story in the long run. But anyways, we then go to the Mario standing outside Tommy Vercetti's house telling Max Payne to go kill him or something. Max approaches the house, which if you didn't know, this house has been used for about every fucking place in the damn series since Operation Blindstorm. It was a haunted mansion, the mob complex from the interactive adventure, the pizza place, and now the house of Tommy Vercetti. I know there's probably more, but if you haven't seen any of the show before the video, I think that this is Rich's house. Well, how do I know this? Because there's a truck parked in the garage that says Richard's Painting Service. Now, I could be totally wrong, but I'm just going based off speculation since nobody seems to know. So apparently, Mario and Luigi get all their friends' stuff back and leave a note saying that it was Ash. Everyone calls Ash stupid despite him being gone since Operation Blindstorm. But is this a dig at Ash as a character, or is this a dig at Dane the actor? Because it seems really weird that everyone would just call Dane stupid. And even Brock, the one person who likes Ash, says that he will never talk to him again.
Wow, I'm never talking to that guy again.
This honestly seems pretty petty. You can feel the ill intent from this specific scene. If you wanted it to be just Ash as a character, that's okay. But it honestly just feels like a jab at Dane himself, and that seems really petty. So Max Payne just fucking kills everyone before anyone, even Tommy Vercetti, can get a shot in. The episode ends with Wario and Snake talking about how Mario doesn't want his powers back, and then Snake goes to ask Mario about his money. Nothing important happens in the next episode. Poker, Max Payne again. Mario still doesn't have his money. The only important thing in the next episode is that Ganondorf is coming to the real world to take over, and that something about the beacon is weird. They say a bunch of stuff about how it was too easy. Oh yeah, and there's ninjas for some reason. And then we find out that Waluigi has his powers. The next episode starts with Mario and friends getting sued for copyright infringement because of their parody songs, which makes no sense because they're parodies, which by law is not infringement of copyright. And if that was the case, Weird Al would have no money, and he already has a Walk of Fame star. So now the rest of the episode is like a documentary. The episode is, well, in my opinion, garbage and is not required to watch. Episode 53 is where the story finally comes back to the show, but in my opinion, it's the worst episode of the entire series. Mario wakes up from a fight that we know nothing about, and some lady named Dawn stops her walk to help Mario. The dialogue is really weird in this scene, but it turns out that Mario forgot everything. He has amnesia.
I'm gonna get you help.
Oh, thank you.
You don't remember anything?
No, nothing. Who are you?
We then go to Luigi and Wario to talk about where Mario is, and apparently they got ambushed. We then go back to Dawn's house, who for some reason got Mario new clothes and is going to throw out his old clothes. Mario stops her, and Dawn tells him that he can stay. Mario agrees, and they talk about tea. Then Dawn says this.
Do you remember something?
No, but they're what I was wearing. They might be important or special.
They don't look that special to me. but if they mean that much to you, I won't get rid of them.
Thanks.
No problem. Can I get you anything? Coffee? Tea?
Tea would be great.
Any particular type?
Do you have any Earl Grey?
Yep.
Awesome, thanks.
No prob. Oh, one more thing.
Huh?
We need to work on that accent.
Oh,
Why? Like, what is going on? Why is she trying to change Mario at all? This makes no sense. It sounds like Dawn has an ulterior motive. Like, in a world where Mario is in the real world, a character as famous as Mario should be recognizable. Why does Dawn not know exactly who Mario is? And if she does, then why does she not tell him, but try to change him? Even if she thinks Mario could be a cosplayer, then why wouldn't she ask why he's dressed as Mario? That would have jogged his memory. We then go to Snake and Ness, who wonder why Mario's been gone for 3 days now. They spend too much time debating about whether or not Mario's alive. What exactly is Mario doing, anyways? Well, he's living it up at Dawn's house, and then he says that he likes her, apparently. Living 3 days with someone really does make the Stockholm Syndrome speed up, huh? There's so much wrong with this situation. Why isn't Mario trying to find out who he is? Why is he instead working on his voice? Why is Dawn just fucking condoning the entire thing? Why didn't he go back to where he was found? Why is this plotline ever necessary? So, Luigi and Yoshi are looking for Mario, which to no luck, but for some reason Luigi is screaming at him at a normal volume. He's not adding any kind of variety or inflection to him calling out for him. Like, look at Luigi's mansion, for instance.
Mario! 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 Mario!
See how Luigi's calls for Mario are varied? Now listen to stupid Mario Luigi. Why isn't Luigi varying his voice? Was he not told to by the director? I know this is nitpicky, but it makes any show that much better when you pay attention to detail. Luigi comes back empty-handed and insists that Mario is going to come back. But Mario is too busy fantasizing about settling down with some random lady than, oh, well, I don't know, trying to find out who he is. For fuck's sake, this could have been done so much differently. If you really wanted the fucking love subplot, at least connect it to them trying to understand who he is. This is stupid Mario Brothers, not the Notebook, but with Rich playing Mario, playing Rich. So Mario finally remembers who he is when Dawn mentions mushrooms. Like, ugh, fine, whatever. Mario was beaten by some fighting guys and some neckbeard in a trench coat. But then get a fucking load of this. Dawn never comes back into the show after this. So I ask, what was the point of this fucking plotline? Why the fuck did this even need to exist? You could have done something like having Mario get captured, and that would have added more to the fucking story than this episode. What the fuck? Why did this have to exist? It's completely useless. Like, you could have had the whole episode about Luigi trying to get Mario to remember, and that would have been even better than this episode. And then they turn it into a fucking joke.
Mario, thank God you're okay. We've been worried sick.
sorry, Luigi. I had a bit of a memory problem.
Memory? If you had a memory problem, I could have let you borrow a flash drive.
Okay, I'm only going to say this once. Episode 53 is hands down the worst fucking episode in this entire series. Moving on. So they sit down and talk about getting their powers back because the 3 dudes that attack them will attack again. Speaking of which, what is Snake's power? That ends episode 53. So episode 54 starts with Waluigi showing Wario that he has his powers. Wario then turns on a flashback that shows what Merlin said, and it's literally a bunch of fucking nonsense. Oh, ask Mario this riddle, don't shoot that thing, purple this, don't ask integral questions to the plot, because we haven't thought that far ahead yet. So then we go straight to Wario and Waluigi telling Mario and Luigi that Waluigi needs to transfer his powers to them to get their powers back. And this puts Waluigi in a coma, basically creating a reason for Waluigi to not be in the show until further notice. Snake then makes an offhanded comment about Pauline dying and just shrugs it off completely, forgetting the entire plot point about Mario giving him money for the chocolates. They all transfer their powers and Waluigi fucking clocks out, but not before staring intensely into Wario's eyes. We then go to Brock and Gary, who make it to Oak's house. Man, remember that? I don't, because I didn't talk about it yet. This plot doesn't matter at all, so let's move on. The next episode starts with Ryu? Damn, Stupid Mario Brothers is predicting the Smash roster. So Ryu fights some ninjas, including a red guy who will come back later, and I literally just cannot give a shit right now. There's nothing important aside from this, so moving on to episode 56. 56 introduces more shit with the 3 guys that fought Mario and friends. They're called the Trifecta. They include Ken, yes, Ken from Street Fighter, Liquid Snake, and some dude named Blair Verstorm. We don't know who he is, probably because they needed a villain and couldn't make up a backstory until later. Ninjas appear in the background all the time now, and Mona from WarioWare is introduced. The next episode starts with some more Brock and Gary stuff. What happened is Brock and Gary are trying to find out who is more stupid, so they go to Oak's house and ask. So Ryu is the new Link now. We then go to Mona and Wario, then some more Luigi and Mario stuff who mentions some shit about Merlin. Then they all train with Ryu by fucking watching Naruto. Ryu then teaches them how to block ninjutsu. He calls a ninja, which is the actor played by Dawn. She tries to do a ninjutsu and then Ryu just socks her in the face. There's a scene with Wario and Mona, and then we get this whole thing with the Trifecta. It's more just, oh, we're going to wait for the heroes to show up. It's all whatever. I only chose to cover this scene because in any scene where it's a close-up of someone with reflective sunglasses, you can see either Rich or Chris or whoever's behind the camera in the sunglasses. And this ends episode 57. In episode 58, Ryu is training for the fight when the Red Ninja shows up. It's really contrived and pathetic, to be honest, like most things in this show. It's a scene that doesn't need to happen. We then have Snake and Ness talk about the beacon and why they lost their powers. Ness, for some reason, cannot sense the situation to understand why they lost their powers, because for some reason, Ness can't use his psychic powers to understand what the beacon actually was. It hasn't been that way since the darkness, and Snake has this to say.
I can sense everything but that situation. I haven't felt this way since the darkness was around.
No. If he was around, we'd already be dead.
True.
This is also a massive fucking lie. He mentions that Blair could have similar abilities, but before he comes to a big conclusion, we get stopped for a commercial break because the writers don't want to spoil anything. Dramatic irony is not strong with this show. There's a scene where Waluigi is farted on by Wario, and I can probably say that this is the one scene to sum up Season 4. Filler, useless plot lines, Waluigi being in the coma, and so much fucking farting. We then go to Ryu, congratulating the heroes on being well trained to stop all the ninjas. DK then drenches Wario with the Super Soaker, and Wario is then told to get an alternate costume by Ryu. You know, I'm sure there could have been a better solution to having a costume change rather than doing a lol XD random humor. Couldn't Wario, well, I don't know, have his clothes in the washer? He then gets new gloves from Mona and realizes a dank-ass idea for a brand new costume. We then go to Brock and Gary, who in their quest for finding out who sucks more, took out the Yakuza and robbed a jewelry store. Okay. We then go to the heroes about ready to fight. But the ninjas show up and Snake, Mario, and Ryu go after the Trifecta. I don't know what else to say. Like, I know why they did this. Rich is the Red Ninja, Mario can't be there, and they all have to face their rivals. I don't know, whatever. So Wario shows up to help Luigi, Ness, Yoshi, and DK, and they all outright say it's a cliffhanger, and then the episode ends.
Now that Zuzu Bakashu, or whatever your name was? Zubashi! Let's fight them.
Wait!
For what?
We'll fight them right after this cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger!
The next episode begins with Brock and Gary finding out that they did all of these errands for Oak because he needed them done, and by the fact they did it without question, they're all pushovers. You know something? I wish there was a show that was just the Pokemon spin-off stuff. That would be much more entertaining, and it wouldn't feel like it's taking away from the main series if it has its own thing. Huh. We then go back to the ninjas, who are getting beat by the main cast. The Red Ninja sips wine, but it's not really, and waits for a worthy opponent. We then go to each hero about to fight the Trifecta, and each one gets their own little intro. The heroes fight the ninjas with ease and comment about how bullshit this is.
You guys had enough yet?
These guys are really easy.
Yeah, no sweat.
Was this supposed to be a fight? It's more like a beating.
Me too. We then watch Snake effortlessly kill Liquid, but then Liquid shoots Snake as well. Ken fights Ryu, and we get a fight between Mario and Blair, who fucking breaks Mario's wrist. Holy shit! He then says some shit about being stronger, destroying the flow of the fight. We then go back to the ninjas, where the heroes insult the red guy until he tries ninjutsu on them. Turns out Snake wore a bulletproof vest. He then shoots Liquid in the head. The moment is completely ruined by Snake making a poop joke. This bothers me immensely. Ken and Ryu finish their fight, and Ryu lets Ken go. We then go back to Mario, and guess what? The darkness is back. Yeah, the whole movie, worthless now. The darkness is back, and I don't know what to say. Why? Why not make a different villain with better motives? Why isn't Ganon here earlier in the season? You start this whole thing about Ganon and then never go back to it. Ugh. Well, Blair, being the worst villain in history ever, dies to the darkness because the darkness is super evil or whatever. But hey, now we can add another kill to the darkness list. And 2. Wow, what a spectacular villain. You want to know something, though? I had a way better idea for Blair Bearstorm. When I was interviewing Kevin Chamberlain, I mentioned this.
In theory, he could have been a much better villain, because I always stand by the idea that an original villain calling the shots over the video game villains is a lot more interesting.
Like, oh my god, I just had a great fucking idea. What if Blair Bearstorm was some kind of entity, or like a person that knows that those characters are the video game characters, and then each character can be controlled by a controller, and then he uses them to control the characters and basically hold them in their spot so they can't retaliate. And then he's just called the player.
It would get a hold of the Power Glove. It would have been a good opportunity to have the Power Glove be like a plot device.
Right? And then he's like, I have the Power Glove. You are nothing. You come from a world where this is like the best thing in the world. You can't fuck with me now because I control your every move with this. And then he like punches the buttons in and he makes them like move around.
Now, wouldn't it have that been a better villain than Blair Bearstorm? Now, you haven't heard his backstory yet, so we're gonna do it right now. And here it is, the season finale of Season 4, and we get a reason to why the darkness is back. My theory? Popular demand. No one, not even I, gave a shit about the trifecta. I'm sure whoever was writing decided that bringing back the darkness was a way of enticing people who left to come back to the show. The plot reason, though, well, get this. The darkness knew that Wario knew that Merlin knew about the counter curse, and he made a long-term plan to come back by making a bunch of lightsabers and learning some shit. We also get the backstory of Blair. Apparently, the darkness preys on a young Blair, giving him powers. Why don't you take a seat right over there, darkness? So they team up and he gets some of Darkness's power and becomes Blair, which, by the way, is a stupid name for an evil wizard. They then construct the beacon, which when shot gives the darkness the powers for Mario and Co. But that's not it, because they retcon the entire fucking movie by having his powers inside the hat and saying that he doesn't need it unless Merlin was listening. So then Ness picks up the hat and starts Season 4. So why in the world are they using flashbacks from the last fucking episode? So, long story short, the darkness comes back because they didn't plan on it until everybody stopped watching the show.
Why was he in such a hurry? And why did he say we'd never see him again? He said you'd never see him again because he believed he was about to die. Why? You haven't sensed him yet? Who? How could you forget your old friend, Nox Decius? Decius? No, not him too! Oh yes, Merlin was in a hurry because he was trying to stop the resurrection of Decius, and he knew that if he couldn't stop him from resurrecting, that he would die trying to kill him.
Why the fuck are all the villains coming back? So apparently Decius has been resurrected by someone to destroy the darkness. Mario asks who it is, and it turns out that this is Ganon. But what I have to say is, why not have Ganon be the main villain of Season 4 and then have fucking Blair or whatever be the messenger? Why do they have to bring back the darkness? We then go to Wario and Mona, who ask if Merlin is still alive. I think we all know the answer, but Richard doesn't like suspense at all and ruins it by having Wario test the Nether Saber every day. This is absolute bullshit! Mario and DK make up, and Mario explains some shit to Luigi and Snake. And that ends Season 4. Oh boy. It's time to move on to... Here it is. The final season. 15 more episodes. And it's all over. So, let's go. We get an intro with the Darkness, and the General, which is played by Kevin Chamberlain. In my interview with him, he mentioned that he wanted a new character. He didn't want to always play Yoshi, so he kept bothering Rich about trying to make a new character. He just suggested doing John Marston, Bill Reiser from Contra. And, well, what happened is Rich gave him the General. The rest of episode 1 has Mario, Wario, and Mona all working together to defeat the ninjas, but then out of the blue Noxdesius shows up and says that Merlin has perished, which is ridiculous because Wario tested the saber every day to make sure that he's alive. If they really wanted to keep Merlin alive, it would have been better to hide this from the viewer as well as the characters. They then go to Luigi, who runs into Bowser, which is played by Austin. The guy that played Bowser in the movie is now not available, so they write it off as Bowser wanting to be taller. So everyone is friends with Ganon. There's some shitty joke about economics in the Mushroom Kingdom, which I know this is a joke, but they make a comment about the world building of actual Mario, while literally having no world building in their own show, which I also mentioned in the interview.
Yeah, like a big question I had when I was watching the show is, if they're playing video games based off of their adventures, who's getting the ideas for their games? Are they like, in the video game world, do they like shoot the game like a movie or something? Or like, how does that work? Because they're sitting there and they play Smash Bros. And they act like it's completely normal. But who the fuck made Smash Bros? If Mario and Luigi are in the real world and they are the actual Mario brothers, don't you think that passers-by would notice that it's them? Or do they think that they're just cosplayers or something? That's not explained. It just, like, an explanation would just make it make more sense, you know?
You know, I surprisingly, even though I've analyzed a lot of things in Super Mario Bros., I surprisingly never got into that, because I kind of felt like don't try to wrap your head around this too much. You know, it's like it's almost like a Chinese riddle.
What a pathetic snap. Bowser sends in the ninjas, but Luigi has backup too. We then go to Snake, who finds Tommy Vercetti alive, because new villains are stupid and resurrecting is cool. Then Brock and Gary show up for some reason. There's some unnecessary stuff with Decius, and then he just up and leaves. Wario and Mona join Mario, and this is sad.
I'm fine.
Should we believe him about Merlin?
I don't know. I don't want to believe him, but he's got no reason to lie to us.
Didn't Wario test the beam sword every day? Wario can totally point out the fact that Decius is not telling the truth, or that Decius thinks that he killed Merlin. So why does he not say anything? That makes no sense! Mario has Yoshi tail Decius to the base, which we find out Yoshi has 100 stealth, and we get another poop joke.
Now where can a Dark Lord take a Dark Dookie?
There's a bit with Luigi, DK, and Ness, and then we go back to Snake and Tommy, which we get this line.
Age hasn't slowed you down one bit, Snake. I'm sick and tired of people coming back from the dead for no reason.
Oh, poor Snake. It only gets worse! Snake kills Tommy, and then we go back to Mario and Friends, where they talk about the enemy. It literally tells us nothing. And then Snake shows up just to fucking die. But no worry, because episode 2 starts with Snake waking up young again. He was saved by some chick named Naomi Winters, who I think is from Metal Gear 1 and 4. We then get some dumb stuff about Snake being young or whatever, gene therapy or some shit, which is lame and not necessary. Mario and Luigi make a comment about people noticing ninjas in the city, but then Ryu shows up and completely diffuses the problem by talking about how he beat all of the ninjas, which means they don't have to film in public. So yeah, cool. We then go to the mail gag from Season 1. Why? They then talk about Verizon and AT&T after Mario talking about texting Link. This whole scene is just a fucking joke, and I absolutely hate this. The next scene is about Snake teaching stealth. This is also a joke, and I also hate this. After a scene with Ryu, we go to UPS and Luigi, where he gives him a flash drive to give to Professor Oak. You know, I've never seen a UPS guy so loyal to his customers. We then go to Snake and Naomi again, which is really not needed. I hope this plotline goes somewhere. Spoiler, it doesn't. We then go to Ganon for the first time and all of his allies, which are all people who have died before or were from previous seasons. This includes Bowser, Zubashi, Blair, Noxdesius, and Scott Masterson? Apparently Scott Masterson's plan is to destroy the economy by joining Occupy Wall Street. Yeah, the show's this dated. FedEx also shows up too, and his plan is to stop UPS. Also, Pauline is here for some reason. Then we finally see Ganon's face. And sweet mother of God, he looks like he's in blackface. I know this is not intentional because I asked Kevin about this.
Did anybody aside from you comment about the fact that Matt dressed up as Ganon kind of looks like he's wearing blackface?
No, I was the only one that addressed this.
When I saw it as a kid, I didn't think anything of it, but watching it again, I was like, wait a second, that doesn't look right.
But someone had to notice, even afterwards. Ganon is played by Matt Provincial, which is Wario, and while I don't mind his performance, he seems too soft-spoken as Ganon. Ganon is a threat, right? He fights Link and does things on his own. He doesn't hide in the shadows. But I don't play a whole lot of Zelda, so I don't know Ganon's character as well as I would know someone like Luigi or Mario. Also, look here at Blair. Where do sunglasses go?
What about my vengeance?
This ends episode 2. Episode 3 starts with the darkness. He orders around Ken and the general. We then go to Mario, and there's a gag about translation between DK and Yoshi. Mario says that even though the enemy expects the ambush, they should still do it. Ness warns him, but Mario is too dumb to realize that they're all going to die. We then go to Zubashi, who is the Red Ninja, if I didn't mention it earlier, who comes to destroy the darkness, and then we finally see the darkness's army, which is pirates. This is stupid. Then there's a fight between UPS and FedEx. FedEx then insults Ace of Base, which totally triggers the UPS guy. And he's also super OP. What a surprise. We then go back to the darkness, who spouts a shitty line. Then Mario arrives at the base and they all spout one-liners. Right before they can fight, it ends. The next episode starts with everyone getting the shit kicked out of them, with Mario being the only one standing for some reason. Mario attacks Ganon, who tells them about how he trapped Link in the Dark Realm.
What have you done with Link?
Sad story, really. You see, so many times he has locked me in the Dark Realm, so I decided to return the favor.
Oh, Mario is powerless to Ganon. Surprised by this, Mario has no time to think before the darkness shows up. Ganon knocks Mario out, and the darkness and Ganon share some evil banter. Ganon sends his minions after the darkness, who time stops them, and walks through them up to Ganon. I can't help but point out how you can feel the pretentiousness coming off of the characters. The darkness and whoever wrote the specific scene probably thought, oh wow, this looks so cool, when I think it looks absolutely stupid. The darkness and Ganon fight, and you can get a good look at how ridiculous Ganon's outfit is. The darkness, after getting knocked out, disappears with Mario and friends for some reason. The heroes wake up, only to realize that they've been taken back to base. Mario makes this comment.
It would appear the darkness has transported us back to base.
Why would he do that?
No idea. The point is, we were clearly not ready for this battle.
Oh man, I wonder who made the call to do the attack. They then all talk about what to do next. Then there's some stuff with the darkness, and apparently they have to consider the nuclear option. But they won't tell us. Spoiler, it's teaming up with Mario and friends. Mario then leaves for Oak's house for some reason, and Luigi and friends are alone, which ends episode 3. Episode 4 starts off with a recap of the past 2 episodes. Mario starts on his way to Oak's house, and there's some jokes, which are lame. Then we go to Snake and Naomi, which is lame as well. I'm still hoping for this to go somewhere, we'll just have to find out. Then some stuff with Mona and Wario. You want to know what I don't like about these last 2 scenes? They're supposed to be romantic, but they're both kind of unnecessary. We then go to Nox Decius, who wants to kill the darkness. Then there's a joke about magazines, which isn't needed as well. I know I've mentioned trying to mix serious and funny scenes, but there's a time and a place for everything. And for some reason, every time they try to do this, it's not working at all. So we go to Luigi and Wario, who are approached by the darkness, and they ask to team up. The episode ends with a nod to their interactive adventure stuff, whichever one you click is just Richard making a fucking joke.
Are you joining the darkness? Did you think this was an interactive adventure? Well, you thought wrong. How dare you mess with my plot? Write your fanfiction somewhere else. You're not joining the darkness? What do you think this is? An interactive adventure? Well, guess what? It's not! I can't believe that you had the audacity to mess with my plot.
The next episode starts with Luigi and Wario accepting his offer. Luigi meets up with DK and sends him to New York to beat Scott Masterson. Just then, Wario shows up to introduce Captain Morgan, the spokesperson for actual Captain Morgan. Then there's a gag with the darkness.
Has anybody seen my Entertainment Weekly?
Zubashi, what do you think is better?
The DK uses psychology to defeat Scott Masterson, and then there's a scene with Luigi and Wario that doesn't really tell anything to the viewer. Then DK knocks out Scott Masterson, who is then abducted by cannibals. What? We then go back to Ganon, who sends Pauline to beat Mona. The next episode begins with Mario having a flat tire. This then cuts to Waluigi waking up, and then we get another terrible joke.
Waluigi, you're awake! Luigi, how long has it been? You've been asleep for almost a year. Ugh, what a terrible smell. Oh, sorry. Wario was using this room for farting practice.
We then go to Zubashi and a joke about Master Gangles, the second-hand ninja going on a date. Yes, if you didn't hear me correctly, Zubashi's right-hand man is named Master Gangles. We then get a scene with Mona and Pauline, who is an emo fuck. They fight, which then ends with Mona getting KO'd. Then Waluigi gets caught up to the current story. Now that Waluigi is awake, we get some kind of joke about Waluigi sleeping. Then some lame scene with Zubashi and Master Gangles trying to date. Just as Mona's about to die, DK shows up and proposes to Pauline. Then Ness gets a vision. The next episode starts with a catch-up with Luigi and Wario talking about Captain Morgan and Waluigi. Then Ness runs up to Yoshi to ask about Snake, and then he warns him about Blair attacking the house. The next scene is with Zubashi, just retelling us what we already know. Then Ken and Ryu make up, while Ness arrives to explain that Blair is coming. When Ness makes it to Luigi and Wario to explain that Snake is going to cut off Blair, they all talk about who is going to help Snake stop Blair, and Waluigi takes the challenge. They all ask where Mario is, and then Luigi tells him that he's with Oak. We then go to Mario, Brock, and Gary, who make it to Oak's house, where we are told that Oak told the UPS guy to fuck off because they thought the UPS guy was lying. This doesn't make sense at all. This feels like that it's just here to add unnecessary conflict and pad out the episode. Why not just have them arrive at Oak's house to plan and just have it be that? It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, we then go to Blair and Snake. Where Snake questions the fight as Blair can be resurrected by Ganon. Blair corrects him, saying that he could in fact die and not come back. Why? What is the point of telling somebody that? If they overestimate you, couldn't you use that to your advantage? This makes absolutely no sense at all. Then Ryu and Ken show up, and some pirates. Then they all go to fight and the episode ends. The next episode starts with a fight between all the characters. Blair then steals Snake's gun and shoots Snake. Ryu then runs off with Snake, and Ken is left to fight Blair alone. Ken then gets his ass kicked, but then Waluigi shows up and finishes Blair off in a really pathetic way. I just want to mention that the music mixing is fucking god-awful. I had to adjust and readjust my volume while watching the show on my TV. Then we, you'll be surprised, go to a new location! Wow! It's a stadium of some sort. I don't entirely know which one this is, but nonetheless, it's a real location. Brock finds the UPS guy who is bummed, and we get some backstory about how he wanted to be a football player. Here, just listen.
Don't be. I'm not a Chargers fan.
So then why are you here?
I didn't always deliver packages, you know. Back in high school, I played football.
I didn't know that.
You know, there's a lot about me you don't know. I played for Cal Berkeley as well in college. And then I was drafted by the NFL. I was going to be a starter for the Oakland Raiders.
What happened?
Well, I got hit by a FedEx truck and broke my arm. I was never able to throw or catch a ball ever again. So I made it my personal goal to oppose FedEx in every way possible and joined UPS.
Sorry to hear that.
You know something I just realized? I know that Rich might want to have everyone in the show to be here, but you could remove this entire plot, and fucking nothing would change. This is just padding for time. They then give the flash drive to Brock. They take it back to Oak, and we find out the answer of how to win against Ganon. Link. Apparently they just need him, or they just need the Master Sword. So Mario, Brock, and Gary go to Hyrule to find Link. Wait, isn't Link in the Dark Realm? Ganon literally told Mario this at the beginning of the season.
What have you done with Link?
Sad story, really. You see, so many times he has locked me in the Dark Realm, so I decided to return the favor.
Did they forget that he was in the Dark Realm? Anyways, the next episode starts with Mario, Brock, and Gary in Hyrule. They hear a horse. We then go to the snake thing again with Wario and Naomi. Then we go to Waluigi, who passes out, which now becomes a huge joke for the rest of the season. And you want to know what? It's really fucking annoying. We then go from Ryu and Ken to a huge piece of stupid drama between Mona and Wario that only serves as a reason to write Mona out of the story. I guess they weren't available or something. Waluigi is now in bed, but because of his narcolepsy, he is unable to film. With Mario gone, we have more reason for Luigi to take the helm. We then get a scene with Wario leaving for some reason, which I know it's not Rich writing Matt out of the story, because Ganon also films in this show too, and they're played by the same person. Wario's reason to leave is shite, by the way. Something about not belonging, which was literally disproven in Season 3, where all of them became friends. Next episode, literally nothing happens, except Matt is extremely short, and then there's some more stuff with Mario and Hyrule, which has Rich playing someone else again. Next episode is also nothing but filler as well. The only important thing is that DK and Yoshi got captured by Nox, Mario and friends find the Master Sword, which is blocked by some magic or whatever, but then guess who's back? Merlin! He then tells Mario not to give up, and then the episode ends. The next episode is still just winding up to the final episode. Ryu and Ken get fucked, Mario sends Brock and Gary home, Luigi is sad that Yoshi and DK got captured, and the evil villains do stuff. On the second to last episode, we get a big recap of Link's story. Since Kent Melville, who plays Link, hasn't been able to work on any of the show, we don't see him in any of the seasons past the movie. But we then go to Mario, who is meditating, but he's super good at being overpowered.
How do you feel? Calm. At peace. And what do you sense? There's a group of riders about 20 kilometers to the south. Excellent. There are children playing 35 kilometers to the north. Mario, this is very impressive. We've only been at it for a few hours. I've never seen anyone excel this fast. I don't have time to fail. Your determination is very inspiring.
Then, Luigi brings Brock and Gary up to speed. Ryu and Ken get attacked by ninjas and are basically put out of the fight, probably to go play ninjas. Luigi only has Brock and Gary and Ness to help him win against the ninjas now. Also, the darkness gets rid of the general, stripping Kevin Chamberlain of the only other role he ever had. Wario, while out and about, sees a ninja who is pointed out by the editing. Thanks. The ninja threatens Wario, which gives him a reason to come back. Apparently Ganon is going to merge this world with the Dark Realm, but wouldn't that set Link free if he's in the Dark Realm? Wario just kind of fucking snaps the ninja's neck and the episode ends. Which then, by the end card, tells us what happened to Ash.
Please subscribe! It's free and easy, just like not asking, hey, where's Ash? But the answer is, he's safely at home in Kanto, and as Season 4 explained, Brock and Gary want nothing to do with him.
But Rich Alvarez, you still haven't explained what happened to Otacon, Coconut, Princess Peach, Daisy, Johnny Cyclops.
Shut up!
Whatever. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. Link in the description below.
And further tells us that Brock and Gary hate him. Why is that necessary to say, though? It seems kind of mean. I understand Ash going back home, but you literally did not need to say that Brock and Gary hate him. Anyways, it's time for the final episode, which is an hour long, by the way. So let's finally finish the show. We open up on the final episode 5,000 years ago, in a flashback between young Nox, Decius, and Merlin, who are good brothers, and we get more of an explanation about how OP Merlin is.
So, what do you want to do now, Merlin?
Perhaps you can help me construct my beam sword.
You mean the one you've been working on for a century? Don't bother, Merlin. Those things will never work.
Don't be so quick to dismiss the technology. I call this one the Nether Saber, and someday it'll shine as brightly as the sun.
He made the beam swords. Isn't that just dandy? They talk about losing the metallic cross, which is their mother's, and Merlin helps him to look. We then go forward 1,000 years, which shows the crumbling of Nox and Merlin's relationship. Nox has been working with Ganon, so Ganon is the one pulling the strings the entire time, which in my opinion is fucking stupid. I also just realized that this shouldn't take place 4,000 years ago if King Arthur's there. See, King Arthur was supposed to be in the years 500 to 600 AD, but this happens 4,000 years ago. So Nox created the darkness and then talks to it while not maintaining a good eyeline, and then it flies away to get the Truth Stone and bind it to him. We then cut to 975 years later, where Nox Decius approaches Bowser and tells him that he's going to kidnap the Mario Brothers from a plane after it lands. What? Hang on, let me get this straight. If the first plane was invented in 1903, which is 115 years ago, then why the fuck are there planes this far back in time? This makes no sense. Why are planes a thing, let alone supposedly commercial airlines? If Bowser wants to destroy the plane like he says, carrying the Marios, then this wouldn't make sense. Why not just use the stork from Yoshi's Island? But then, wait a second, shouldn't Bowser be a baby? And did they even play Yoshi's Island? But wait again, why are the Marios babies? If the Marios are teenagers, which, according to law, that is anywhere from 13 to 18 years old, why are they babies 2,025 years ago? So then we go to Yoshi, who saved Mario and Luigi, but then we find out that they're Merlin's descendants? This is getting all too confusing. This is just an opening for the movie. We then go to Mario, who is succeeding at an exponential rate because you know this is the last episode and Mario's OP as fuck. Mario asks if Merlin is dead, and it turns out that he is, but he's basically a Force ghost. So then he teaches Mario how to telepathically connect with someone. Merlin says it should take him hundreds of years to learn it, but he gets it right off the bat. Why? Also, if you didn't know, this never comes back! We then go to Luigi when Wario comes back to apologize. He's now back on the team. Wario and Luigi discuss what they know, telling us stuff that we as the audience also already know, but the question is, why? Why not talk about this off-screen like you did in the movies? Also, why pirates and ninjas? I don't know how to improve this at all. I know that it seriously shouldn't have been pirates and ninjas, but why not have, like, Koopa Troopas as people? Or, like, I don't even know, like, actual, like, threatening minions rather than fucking pirates and ninjas. So then Luigi leaves to go fight Bowser. We then go to Captain Morgan, who's been asleep for the entire season, but the darkness has sent somebody to wake him up right on time. Who is that, you may ask? Well, it is Pirate Crunch, the off-brand cereal made by Julian's character, Pirate Crunch. Anyways, they then use Pirate Crunch to cure Waluigi of his narcolepsy, but the whole thing turns into an ad for Pirate Crunch. Why? Seriously, why? Then he falls asleep again, but then he wakes up to tell Wario that they're best friends. They use this time to explain why Snake got hurt, and they say shit like this.
Snake did great. He just forgot to take his pills before the battle.
Okay, but how could Snake forget his bulletproof vest?
He was wearing his bulletproof vest.
Say what? Then how did he get shot?
Ever since Liquid survived Snake's gunshots, he's been loading his gun with armor-piercing rounds.
I see. And Snake was shot with his own gun. But wait a minute, wasn't his gun only supposed to work for him?
You mean the ID print handle?
Right.
Well, Snake had that feature removed because Foxdie changes his DNA, constantly changing his fingerprints.
Wow, now it all makes sense.
What the fuck? I don't know what to say anymore. Wario then says this.
Hey, you've done so much to help us already, my friend. If anybody deserves some sleep, it's you.
The fuck are you talking about? He's been asleep for a fucking season and then some! This scene drags on for so long, and Waluigi has some intel from Merlin. But it's just a giant expo dump. So basically, the darkness and Mario share the same soul, and since Mario's soul is so powerful, the darkness is starting to become good or something? Wow, what the fuck? That's so ridiculously idiotic. Ugh. Then we go to the big battle between pirates and ninjas. Nox Decius watches onward and waits for the darkness to show up. Then we go to Ness and Wario, who commentate. Wario then calls him a genius, and Ness responds with this.
Being a genius has its ups and downs.
I thought you were a fucking psychic, not a genius! Pirate Crunch then poisons a ninja, and then Captain Morgan and Zubashi fight. We then go to Mario again, who's mastered wizardry to no fucking surprise.
Mario, you have mastered wizardry. Have I?
We then go back to the ninjas. Wario joins the fight, and Ness asks Brock and Gary to go get Mona. Wario and Nox Decius fight, and Wario seemingly gets the shit kicked out of him. We then go to Mario, who can't pull the sword for some fucking reason. Then we go back to Nox, who is about to kill Wario, but the darkness stops him. They then go to fight, and Mona shows up to help Wario escape. We then go to Luigi, who finally gets to Bowser. They both spout some useless lines, but when they're about to fight, it cuts to Wario and Mona getting to Naomi Winter's hospital. We then get back to the darkness and Nox fighting. They fight for a while in a scene that seems pretty decently choreographed for an amateur film. But this goes on for some time, and they start crawling towards each other, which ends in both of them dying by each other's hand. They take a really long time, but then they finally perish, which is admittedly pretty cool, because they both completed their goal, but both sacrificed their lives. So it's a bittersweet ending for these characters. Too bad the whole show didn't have moments like this, and too bad it had to be the fucking darkness. We then go to Bowser and Luigi's fight, finally, to where it seems like Luigi's getting the shit kicked out of him. Then they come to a final stalemate, and Bowser goes to shoot fire out of his mouth, but Luigi blocks it with his hand. We then go back to Mario, where Merlin says that he has to transfer his soul back into Mario because Mario needs a more powerful soul to have the Master Sword, forget Link, and attach to Mario. But then the darkness says that he'll do the same, and then Link shows up and says he'll do the same. Link's probably doing this because Kevin could only film for one day, but everybody just ends up merging with Mario. So now, Mario can finally wield the sword. We then go back to Pirates. Wait a minute! I just realized something. If Link's just gonna merge his soul with Mario, then why the fuck does Merlin and the Darkness have to do it? Because if Link's the one that's connected to the sword, then Sword should already know that Link's soul is inside Mario. Why the fuck are the other two doing it? Why don't they just be fucking Force Ghosts or something? What the hell? We then go back to Pirates and Ninjas, which leaves Zubashi and Morgan. Morgan chugs his entire rum bottle and fucking passes out. Fun fact, I talked to Garrett, one of the guys that plays the ninjas, who actually was during the filming of this. Matt Provincial actually did chug that entire bottle. It's iced tea, but he chugged the entire thing in one go. And they just cut right back and forth from it. Thought that was cool. We then go to Ganon, where Mario changed his clothes to have the Darkness and Merlin's outfit. He looks like a fucking neckbeard. So Ganon reveals that he killed Merlin, and we get a flashback. I don't know why we need this. Mario already has the motivation to kill Ganon. Why do we have to tell him that he killed Merlin? It's not, what, is it going to make him extra mad or something? So then they finally fight, and the movement is slow, and it shows that they're acting. Mario gets knocked down, and Ganon starts to choke him, but Mario shanks him in the stomach. Mario then actually stabs him again, which finally kills Ganon once and for all. We then go to Naomi, where Naomi tells Mona that Wario, in fact, will be okay. Snake and Naomi make out. Why? That doesn't add to the story, and I'm assuming this is the end of their little storyline, so why the fuck was this necessary to even begin with? Mario comes back, and they play Pachelbel's Canon for some reason. Luigi greets Mario, and they hug. Now that everything is
taken care of,
Luigi asks the classic line.
So, what do you want to do now, Mario?
And they decide to go back to the Mushroom Kingdom. The final sequence is a song sung by UPS, which shows all the friends they've made and all the enemies who've lived, as well as Pauline actually ending up marrying DK. The song is actually performed pretty well, and I think Rich should make his own original music. All the characters say their goodbyes, and the Marios show up with their mustaches on, signifying that they are finally done. Mario turns around and says thank you for 5 years of stupid Mario Brothers, and he turns around to catch up with Luigi. Watching this again, the ending is still pretty good. It's a nice way to tie things up. And this actually ends Stupid Mario Brothers once and for all. So now that the show is over, there's still one question I have to answer. This show, looking back, is not what I remember from my childhood. But through all of its flaws, I still like it. Why? Well, if you didn't know, I go to school for film. But it was never like that. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was younger. But one day I stumbled across a little show and I was hooked as a kid. But the show really didn't make me think much of it. The bloopers did. Watching these people have fun and make a show just because they wanted to sparked a light in me that made me want to do something of my own. And I started. And now, I'm in my junior year of film school. I've written a movie and various shorts, and now I've started a YouTube channel of my own. Because some guy in California, dressed up as Mario, and fought some dudes with lightsabers. I always wanted to work on the show as well. But now, seeing that they need help with their new stuff, I try to do my help for them in the background. I provide advice and ways to improve the show from an actual professional perspective. Super Mario was, albeit not the only, but one of the reasons that made me want to do film as a kid. And even though I see it as this infuriating mess of plot holes and unnecessary storytelling, I still love the show. So, Rich, Chris, Kevin, Matt, Doug, Julian, Austin, and even Dane, thank you all. I had a great time picking this shit apart. And I think it's high time I move on to something else. Thanks for watching The C-Files. So that's the end of Stupid Mario Brothers for The C-Files. I hope you guys liked it, because on a scope of something like this, I don't think I'm going to be doing it again for a while. I might come back and look at some of the more Stupid Mario stuff that Rich has done, but if you want to support me, or support my friends, like the generous young man that made my thumbnails and title cards, go follow Byron on Instagram. Follow him on Twitter. I'll put him in the description. He's a great fucking dude. If you want to talk to him personally and talk to me, come to my Discord. I've got the link in the description right there. You guys can look at funny things and play video games, and I've streamed sometimes. Fucking join me. It'll be a blast. And then, if you're feeling extra generous, you can always donate to my Patreon. I can't really think of anything else. This whole end card's unscripted, so I guess join me next time as I look into literally anything else. You guys have a good one.